Welcome to the URBONUS podcast, everyone. I am the host, Donatas URBONUS, and in this episode, I'm joined by two great guards, two very dedicated players. Ladies and gentlemen, my beloved co-host, Eric McCollum, and Mr. Triple Double, Codi Miller-McIntyre from Baskonia. Hello, guys.
What's up, my guy?
Hello.
Quite cringe beginning after a great off the record conversation that we had just before we had this magical rec button, but it's normal. It's 10 at night in Turkey right now. It's 9 in Lithuania. It's 8 in Vitoria. But that should be a really exciting hour because we're going to cover a few interesting topics, such as why it's so hard to do a triple-double in Europe compared to the NBA. If all-time scoring record makes Mike James the EuroLeague GOAT. Do we have new FIBA national teams powerhouse in the making and more? But let's just start. Let's just jump straight into it. In case you missed history, 20 days ago, Codi Miller-McIntyre registered just the fourth triple-double in the EuroLeague history, joining Nikola Vujicic, who did it twice in 2005 and 2006, and Nick Kalatis in 2019, the only players to record a triple-double in the EuroLeague history before. So 11 points, 11 rebounds, EuroLeague record 20 assists in a win against Asvel Villeurbanne. Congratulations, Codi. That's an amazing achievement, and what does it mean to you, actually? Given your basketball journey here in Europe, we had some quick glimpses in your career. What does it actually mean to you?
Man, it means a lot. I would say, especially in my situation, first year in EuroLeague, 29 years old, having two tough seasons before. Nobody expected it. Nobody expected, to be playing pretty well here in Baskonia, for Baskonia to be doing well with me as, the point guard. So it definitely means a lot. And then it's also a lot of the stuff I think about and I do it for people who haven't had this opportunity. So playing basketball overseas in general, waking up every day, getting to play the game that we love. There's a lot of people back home who've never had this opportunity. Maybe it's just from situation, maybe it's from injury. It's a lot of different factors on why they didn't have the opportunity. So a lot of it is for them, and then especially getting this chance at the EuroLeague stage. I feel like there's a lot of guards, a lot of players who spent years and years in Europe, and they all deserve the chance, and they all deserve the opportunity to play at the highest level possible. So I think it's just proven that you don't have to have a big name to play at a high level. You don't have to have, years and years of EuroLeague experience to be able to come in and produce. You don't have to have years and years of NBA experience to be able to come in and produce, because a lot of that is based on opportunity situations. So that's what means the most for me.
It sounds like you kind of fill a void of wanting to carry that torch, for guys who maybe don't get an opportunity, for guys who maybe have to wait a little bit longer than they're deserving. So what's your mindset going into that, every game, every match, or when you're signing that contract with Baskonia? What's your mindset? Are you thinking about, what I need to do, but also are you realizing that your success, how you play, you understand that could open the doors for many other players in the future who haven't had that chance in the year?
Definitely. I think, so I almost went to China. My agent talked me out of it. I think it was an ongoing conversation for like a month. I was like, I'm done with Europe. I've been in Europe for X amount of years. I feel like I'm trying my hardest. Things aren't changing. Send me to China. Let me go make my money. Nobody know where I am. Nobody really keeping up with me. I make my money. I come home. And then when Baskonia came, I was like, okay, well, I've turned down EuroLeague before. I had the EuroLeague offer before. I turned it down. Now this is the second opportunity where it's on paper again. And I'm like, I got to take this. I have to. Forget the money that I could potentially make in China. This is an opportunity for me to prove everybody wrong about me and about the type of player I am, the type of person I am. And again, going back to what you just said, Eric, it's also, there's so many good players in Europe that deserve the opportunity that I have, that I'm currently taking advantage of. And I'm doing this for myself. And then also, like I said, just to prove people, like, you don't have to have a big name. When I see somebody with a big name, I get excited. Me and Eric, we've had our battles before. He's came out on top, pause, multiple times. And I've gotten a few wins against him as well. But it's like when I see somebody who is at the level I want to be at, I get energized. I get excited because when you're on that court, there's no difference between me and somebody else besides our last name and situation. So that's kind of the energy I try to bring, where the first thing I think about, I'm like, yo, how much does he make across from me? How much do I make? That's literally one of the first things I think about. Like, yo, he's getting paid how much? Oh, no, I'm at least worth half of what he's getting. That's my mentality. Like, at least half.
I like
at
that.
least. So, that's kind of my mentality, signing, coming here, and then every game, especially in EuroLeague.
So when was it when you had this initial EuroLeague offer years ago? When was it?
So I was with Partizan. I personally was having a decent year at Partizan, and I had an offer to go to Panathinaikos. Panathinaikos on paper, contract ready, everything. And me being the person I am, I'm a loyal person. So I signed a 2-year deal to Partizan. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to jump ships. We're struggling right now. I don't want to come here and just get up and leave. And when I feel like we have the team to do better, I'm here for 2 years. I like Serbia. I like the fans. I like the situation. I want to fight through this situation. I don't want to just jump ships. And I think they called me on like a Thursday and said I had to be there. I think it was like a Sunday or Monday, because this year they was going through guards. Like, I think they probably had 3 or 4 point guards that year. So yeah, I turned it down. I was like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm here, signed a 2-year deal with Partizan. Like, I'm staying here. I'm not jumping ships.
And just to clarify, it was Partizan before Željko returned. It was a Partizan that had a lot of financial issues. They were lacking of consistency, both with the head coaches, both with finances, with the front office. So yeah, it's a rare thing that you were loyal to that Partizan organization, to that Partizan club, actually.
Yeah, so
that's true.
Belgrade's a great city.
Amazing city. Amazing city. But it was the same thing in college. We were struggling a little bit in college, but I think it was my sophomore year. Going into my junior year, I was thinking about transferring. And I was just like, you know what? If I can't accomplish what I need to accomplish here, then it's not going to make a difference if I leave. Like, I committed here to be here for 4 years. I'm the starting point guard. I personally have no reason to leave besides thinking the grass is greener somewhere else. So who knows? Maybe I would have went to Panathinaikos. Maybe I wouldn't have been ready. Maybe that would have been my only EuroLeague opportunity, and it never came again. So I think I made the right decision by staying and trying to stick it through. But,
Yeah, but 2 years later, you were thinking you were done with Europe.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough. That has to be tough.
It is.
But let's make it clear also, you were not thinking about it like complete retirement, right? Because I've read an article on Eurohoops by a great reporter, actually, Cesare Milanti. Mm-hmm. And I think that, from his piece, I thought that you were actually thinking about retiring from basketball in general.
Bro, I was thinking about being done. I was thinking about like figuring out something at the house. I'm in real estate. My family owns their own real estate company. It was just 2 very hard years back to back, getting relegated with Andorra, trying my hardest, fighting every night, trying my hardest, but we're still losing games like consistently. And then going to Turkey, where we were doing pretty well when we were in our city, but then the earthquake hit. And once the earthquake hit and we moved to Istanbul, we could not win a game to save our life. Everybody was mentally done, frustrated. People on the team are dealing with deaths, dealing with, family members being hurt. So all of that just hit me like, yo, I literally could have lost my life being in a city for basketball. And it's not the situation that I want to be in. So what am I really doing out here? What if I was in Gaziantep in the wrong part of the city? Um, I would have lost my life being in a situation that I wasn't truly happy in the first place. So yeah, I texted my agent. I was like, bro, I'm done. I was like, I think I'm done. Like, I need to take a year off at least. I need to get my mind right because the stress that overseas put on players when you don't have your family with you, you're not surrounded by loved ones, and you know how the basketball world is out here. It's cutthroat. Like I just told you, and I never talked about this, so this would be the first time I publicly talked about it. I turned down the offer to go to EuroLeague with Partizan. They knew about it. X amount of time later, I get cut from Partizan. So it's like, what am I doing? Why am I being loyal to situations when the situation isn't being loyal to me? Why am I risking my mental health, risking my peace of mind for situations that's not ideal, So, but yeah, I was for sure thinking about being done.
Wow. That's a hell of a Cinderella story, I would say. For you to get this offer, and because I think it's quite rare to get the first EuroLeague opportunity at the age of 29, and you both will expand on it later because Eric, I was surprised while I was doing this research. I think that he also got his first EuroLeague opportunity, or at least he signed the EuroLeague contract when he was 29, and I think it's at least I think that it should be tough for players like you guys because probably a lot of GMs or coaches, they're like, okay, if you're not succeeding at that level from the very beginning, they're fast, they're quick to write you off because they might say, oh, I was right, he was too short, he cannot play defense, he cannot shoot, or all these negative narratives that all the other GMs had before they finally gave you an opportunity to play in the EuroLeague. Do you feel like some kind of a extra pressure of having to perform really quick when you get this opportunity really late because they will go after younger or different options?
Yeah. When I started, I had to come from the bottom and work my way up. So you're constantly building. You're always having to prove something, always having to show something. And then you feel like you finally got to a level in Europe where, all right, I've shown who I was. I've had successful year after successful year. Now you're talking 3-4 straight years. Like, to give you an idea, I think that year where I started to merge, I was in the Greek league and I was on like a team that just came from the second division. We made the playoffs surprisingly, and I was like the third leading scorer in the Greek league. At fourth year, I jump up, I make a decision to go stay in the Greek league. I was familiar with it. And I go to Panathinaikos. At this time, it's a Euro Cup team known as the third best team in Greece. I led the Greek league in scoring. I led the Euro Cup in scoring. I think I was like import player of the year or something like of the Greek league, and played well. And halfway through that year, I have a first offer. I'm 25 or 26 years old. AC Law tears his ACL, and Olympiacos wants me. And at that point, of course, like, I'm a young player. I've been watching these EuroLeague games and starting to familiarize myself. I want to go, but I also like, Panathinaikos. I like the situation, but, I wanted to go, but they blocked it. Boom. I didn't have a buyout until the summertime. So I respected it. I stayed and played. And I think it ended up being a blessing anyway, because me and AC Law's games are total opposites. Like, how do I fit in? Like, I never been a sit in a corner type of player. And with Spanulis being so dominant at the time and such a great player, you dribble that ball up, you pass to him. And I mean, he's a champion. He's won. This is your job. And, you have to find ways to be effective. So at that point, it was tough for me. And then once the Reds are on you, then the Greens are on you, right? So now the Greens are calling, they're trying to get me too, and they were trying to buy me out. So those were my first opportunities. And then, the timing just wasn't right. And then there was another time I had another EuroLeague offer, and I ended up choosing Galatasaray instead. I felt like it was a better fit where I was going to be able to showcase my game. I feel like when you go to that level, it needs to be a right situation where you can play to your strengths. A lot of times those strengths can be prohibited in a situation where you don't have full trust from the coaches. So to harp on what you said, I felt when I do make that decision to step to the EuroLeague, I need to be in a situation where I can be me. I can handle failing, doing the things I do, playing the pick and roll, being a scorer, creation, having the ball in my hands, doing decisions. I can handle failing like that, but I can't handle failing playing someone else's game because I've been me for 36 years now. Playing someone else's game, even though you're a good player, you're a pro, it's not easy to transition to be someone else for 3-4 months and you're playing against people who are comfortable. So I felt not a pressure, but like, all right, I'm going to make sure the timing is right, because when you pick a team, Europe is very unforgiving. If you're old and you pick a team and you don't play well, they say you're too old. If you're young and you pick a team and you don't play well, they say you're too young, you're not ready, you're not seasoned. If you're in your prime years and you pick a team and you don't play well, they say you're not good enough. So there's always a reason. So like I was very cognizant of picking the teams where I would have freedom and I would take less money, or I would take a smaller name, a smaller tradition, maybe a Euro Cup instead of EuroLeague if I felt like the freedom was not correct. And so once it finally came, I had the freedom when I did choose at 29 to go to Ephes. I had built my name up in Europe at that time. I'm 6 years in, and I was like, okay, I'm ready now. And my name had been solidified in Europe. And the team didn't play well. We had so many injuries. There was so many outlying factors, so many things that happened. But, you know, I was able to establish that I can play at this level, and I had opportunities from there. But like, just, it's not a pressure, but you have to be cognizant of that opportunities only come so often, and they're not promised. You could get injured, you could play bad, or the team can be bad. You can't play bad, the team do bad, and you have injury history. You do those three, you forget even Euro Cup. You might be dropped down to FIBA Cup, FIBA Euro Cup, whatever. Like, you just never know. One game a week. So it's really tough making these choices. And I tell people all the time, like, don't just chase the money, chase the situation. Of course, I like money. Of course, I want to take care of my family. But if you pick the right situations, money will come. And I'm not saying turn down a ridiculous amount of money, but if the money is close, you can tell when a player was in your position the year before how they did. You know, to look at Cody's situation, I'm sure he's seen what Darius Thompson did last year, the freedom to playing, how that ball moved, how he was able to lead the lead in assists. I'm sure he's seen before how Perrier Henry led the lead in assists in the EuroLeague. I'm sure he read the stories about Darius Adams, Mike James. Like, Baskonia is point guard you. If you go there and you have an ability to play pick and roll, to create, to show your game, they will give you the platform to show your game. So I think he made an excellent choice, and he's right. If he goes to that EuroLeague too early, they might write you off, and it's hard to get back.
What you said is, like, it's perfect, because let's say, yes, I have the ability to score, you know, but I'm not a prolific scorer. I'm not somebody that shows up every night and you're like, yo, I need you to go get me 20 to 25 every night in order for us to win. Do I have the capability of doing that, you know, a couple nights, like at a high level? For sure, but it's not my game. So if I would have came to a EuroLeague in a situation where it's like, yo, the ball is in your hand, you need to make shots, you need to make sure you put this ball in the cup every single possession, maybe I wouldn't have been as good as or I wouldn't have played as good as I'm playing now, where like my game is, I can score, yes, but I can also pass really well. And me being able to be with shooters and pass the ball is what helps me score the ball easier. Do you help? Do you not help? If you don't help, boom, layup, floater, XYZ. If you do help, I'm finding my scores. So this situation is the situation I've been looking for my entire career, because it's the first time in my career where I felt like, yo, I don't need to go out here and try to get 25 in order for our team to win. On many of my other teams, I felt that way. Maybe what I was feeling wasn't correct. Maybe, you know, I could have played differently or played better for our teams to succeed. But in the moment, I'm like, yo, I have to. Not just for our team to win, but for me to get an opportunity to go where I want to go. Because,
you correct. I've seen some of those teams. You had to get busy.
I had no choice.
You had to. So
it's funny when people say, oh, he's not in the beginning of the season especially, oh, he's not a point guard. He's not this. He's a two. He's a combo. I can't be a two. What do I shoot from three? I don't run off staggers. I'm not a knockdown shooter. So how am I a two? You know, and if you looked at my career, I actually went back and looked at some of my stats. People see the 20 assist night, but they don't know that in Perm, I had 25 and 17, 24 and 17. So it's like this is something that I've been doing, but now being in a situation where I'm surrounded by great players, it makes my job so much easier to facilitate the ball and just be super solid. And then just to touch on pressure, for me, I don't feel any pressure because I'm not supposed to be here, quote unquote. Like I don't belong here, quote unquote. So it's like I'm already in a situation where at the beginning of the year was so much bad talks about me as a player, some as a person, where anything that I do that's not terrible, I'm already doing better than what people thought. So for me, I don't really feel too much pressure at all because it's like I said, I'm not even supposed to be here based on other people's opinion.
I remember when Baskonia was struggling at the start of the EuroLeague season, when they were losing games, they were about to fire the head coach Panaroya. I remember, let's say, from the surface, your numbers weren't shining as well. And I remember, hearing in behind the scenes, I was hearing that Baskonia is about to sign a point guard. And I was like, who are they going to replace? Was it Nico Mannion or Codi Miller-McIntyre? And, your contract was, let's say, comfortable to make in-season adjustments. And you, basically since then, when Duško joined as well, you elevated your game. Do you remember the adjustment that you made? Do you remember that tough beginning and how you managed to change the season, to change the trajectory of your debut season?
Honestly, I just needed time. Like I said, this was a new situation for me, coming to a team where I don't have the scoring responsibility. So trying to shift my game to being aggressive, but not being aggressive and primarily looking to score. So in the beginning of the season, I'm surrounded by Chima, Marcus, very efficient player, another top, I think second or third in scoring in EuroLeague, and needs the ball. Both of them need the ball. So it was just trying to figure out my spots, figuring out what can I do differently, number one, than I've done in my past years to win games. And then number two, what can I do for this team to where I'm helping the team win and I'm still staying true to myself. So it was just more of a timing thing, like a feel for the game, understanding our offense, understanding what each coach wants, understanding where each player needs the ball. And I think obviously, when Duško came, getting those minutes, him increasing my minutes helped me get the feel for the game a lot faster, versus, 5 minutes here, 6 minutes here, 3 minutes here. It was, Duško showed up and it was, this is what I need. Who's going to do it? Whoever does it is going to play. And just being able to be on the court for that amount of time with the players that we have in the new system, I think that's what helped a lot to be able to get me into like a rhythm.
Yeah, I'm glad you've adjusted. I'm glad you proved you belong to the EuroLeague. But getting back to this triple-double thing, explain me something, guys. So Russell Westbrook tops the NBA with 198 triple-doubles all time. My fellow Lithuanian, Domantas Sabonis, leads the NBA this season with 21 triple-double, while EuroLeague has 4 triple-doubles in 24 years of the competition. Why it is so hard to do a triple-double here in Europe in general, and the EuroLeague as well, compared to the NBA?
Okay, I can give you multiple reasons. Number one, let's focus on rebounding, right? Rebounding is really tough because there's no defensive 3 seconds, which means that the 5s and the 4s can just sit in the paint and constantly be in that position to go get the rebounds. You're usually taught the guard to be ready for the outlet. So it's really difficult for guards to get those 10, 11 rebounds with those bigs already down there. They're athletic, they're long, and with you usually in a position to get the outlet or to push tempo. So that's reason number one, that spacing. With that, the lead defensive 3 seconds, that keeps the paint open. It allows guards to be able to come in there and sneak and get some boards. And with the emphasis on 3-point shooting, there's not a lot of classical big men. in the NBA. So a lot of those 5s and 4s are on the perimeter, on the 3-point line. It's a lot easier to run in and get a rebound when you don't have to fight with 7 foot, 6'10", 6'9". So that's the rebounding one. Number 2, for assists, their assists are not like our assists. We actually create a basket for a person. My brother's in the lead. There's no shade, but I know the NBA says I watch games. I'll see the highlights when they'll be like somebody had 15 assists, and I'll watch, and it will be like pump fake, jab, pump fake, jab, tween cross, step back, up, under, boom, assist. And I just don't understand, like, you created that shot. So the assist is the reason, and also your ball control. In Europe, a lot of offenses are more equal opportunity. So yes, Cody is the point guard. He's going to have the ball. Yes, I'm a point guard. I'm going to have the ball, but the two's also going to have the ball. He plays with a guy who's one of the top scorers in the EuroLeague, who's coming off pin down, stagger, shooting the ball, playing one-on-one. He's really good in isolations to find his 3-point shot. Those type of players are going to have the ball in their hands as well. So in the league, there's probably 2 guys who are going to have the ball the majority of the game. And on the really good teams, there's 3 guys, and everybody else is just a spot-up shooter. I'm not saying they don't have the capacity to create or do stuff, but that's not their role. Where in Europe, it's more like it's a balance. And any night, that's why you could see a random person any night scoring 20, or you could see a star player who normally averages 17, 18. You could see him having 6 and the team winning. Like, that just really doesn't happen in the league often, because they're just going to shoot until they get their average. Whether that's 25 shots, 5 for 25, they're going to keep shooting. And then the points are the easier part. To get 10 points, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm a scorer, so people might say, like, I'm saying it's easy, but you can find it. Let's say you hit 1 3-point shot. Let's say you get 1 transition layup. Let's say you a guard, right? You come off the screen, 1 floater off the pick and roll. You already at 7. That's not counting free throws and a bonus, doing what you got to do. Like, there's a way formula scoring. So I think it's easy to get one of those categories if you focus on it, but it's hard. And then the third thing is the amount of minutes in the game. 48 minutes in NBA game, 40 in Europe. Player usage, usually if you're on a EuroLeague team, if you're the key guy, you're going to be in that 28 to 31 minute range. Whereas in the league, the key guy is probably in that 35 to 38 minute range. And if you're in a Spanish team or, a team with a deep roster, now you're probably going to be talking about 23 to 26 minutes. So it's really tough to fulfill all those stats in that short period of time. And then if you look at the fourth thing, it's the pace of play. In the NBA, there's a lot of early shots, a lot of 2-for-1s, a lot of pushing the tempo, a lot of quick shots. They put the emphasis on sometimes shooting within 8 seconds. Whereas in Europe, we're running more sets. It's a lower scoring game, a lot of gritty grind. I know the Spanish league runs, but it's physical. They're playing defense. They're doing certain things. They're looking for, obviously, the best possible shot. But sometimes in the league, the best possible shot might not be a great shot, but the player is just so special and he's a max guy. He's allowed to shoot that shot. Where at Europe, you could be the guy, but there's only so many shots you can shoot before the coach is like, all right, enough.
Calm down.
Enough.
And I think that's
so I think when you put all those together, that's what you
that
get.
was my number one thing, where if you look at, I think it'd be an interesting stat to see the average shot attempts in EuroLeague versus the average shot attempts in an NBA game. I think that alone presents multiple opportunities for more rebounds. So obviously, if you have more shot attempts, that's more misses. There's more chances for you to get offensive boards, defensive boards. So for me, that's like the key thing, because the way I play, I like getting down there and banging with 5 men and 4 men and trying to out jump them and things like that. But if you're playing slow, there's no way you can get that. I think if you look at the pace that we played against Asvel, we were out. Like, we were gone. As soon as the shot got up, we got the rebound, we're running. Like, we played at a super high pace. So when you play that way, it's not easy, but it makes it easier for the opportunity to get a triple-double to happen. But if you're playing slow, no chance. 0 chance.
And 20 assists is insane. I don't know if I even the triple-double is crazy. I don't even know what to congratulate you on. Like, the triple-double or the 20 assists, like that's insane, bro. Like, kudos to you. I always thought, I never said it, but I always thought your game was like Jeremy Pargos. I don't know if you know who that is, but he was a big, strong guard like you, athletic, getting lane, dunking, runs the pick and roll. has the ability to score, like you said, not like a prolific scorer, but he could go get you buckets when it's time, and a big shot maker. I think that's what you always were, but you didn't have the spotlight to show. So like, to me, your comparison of style of play is like Jeremy Pargo, and that's a guy who's had a big career, had a lot of success in Europe, played for a lot of notable teams, and I could see that, being you just taking off by storm and doing what you're doing. I tried to steal you, tried to get you to come over here. Karsiaka, this is before we knew you had the greener pastures, but, it's just a beautiful thing to see, someone who's has humility, who is a really good self-assessor of who they are as a player, what they bring to the table. And I think that's what makes players, really talented and really good. When you know who you are and what you do, you stick to that, right? I know what I'm good at. You know what you're good at. That allows you to thrive. Obviously you have a talent, you have a gift, but you stay within yourself and you do what you do. And I like that. And that's what I think a lot of young players need to do. Stay within yourself, continue to work on your game, right? Continue to develop certain things. But so many players get told that they can't do something. So they like, oh, I'm going to try to do it. You can make the 3-point shot. You're not a prolific shooter, but you can make it. But you're not out there trying to prove it. You're like, I'm going to take it if it's there. If not, I'm going to create. I'm going to get my team. I'm getting in this paint. And that's what makes a point guard special, those paint touches. So I just like your game, and just wanted to tell you that. Always
that's
been a fan of it. Before you blew up, I know people are going to be like, I jumped up. I was a fan of the game for many years.
I was just talking to my cousin before, so I'm not like huge on interviews and stuff. Like I'm not a big fan of interviews. I don't like bringing more attention than what I need to myself. Because one, I'm very honest, so sometimes I might slip up and say something. I'm like, I'm just being honest. I'm being real. Like, so, but one of the things I told him, I was like, it's dope because, especially with you, we've known each other since my second year in Europe. We've always spoke highly of each other. We always gave each other respect, even when we didn't know each other. Like I said, I started playing you when you was at Unix and I was at Parma. So I was like, it's dope because this is somebody who, before this has even happened, always said good things to me when I saw him on the court, before a game or after a game. So definitely, I appreciate the support. And like I said, you've always been honest. And you just told everybody now that last year in Gaziantep, me and you had a conversation about me coming to play with you. And I was like, bro, bet I'm down. Like, for sure. And then you said one more thing that's so true. Kids growing up, they need to figure out what makes them unique, what makes them special, what makes them different. And a lot of people struggle with that because they see the social media. They see, Mike James. They see a person like Marcus Howard. They see people like Steph Curry, the way they play, and they try to replicate that, but not understanding that, bro, that's not your game. You can't play that way. You can try, but you're never going to be as good as you can because you're trying to be something you're not. So for me, for example, I'm like, yo, like you said, yes, I can knock down a three. I'm not a terrible shooter, but the best thing I do is I get in the paint. I get to the rim. I draw fouls. I create help. I make people help. And if you don't help, I'm laying this up or I'm dunking it. Like, I'm getting to that rim at some point in the game. And that's something that I know I can do that at a high level. So I try to only focus on doing that. Like you said, paint touches. So important as point guards. In college, me and my coach, Randolph Childress, we talked about this a lot. And he would say, yo, dominate the paint. I don't need to be a shooter. I don't need to be a 50%, 40% shooter. Obviously, I keep working on it to make those shots, to make people respect going over screens. But at the end of the day, if I can dominate that paint, that is what I do best. And that is what a lot of people can't do because of maybe size, skill set, speed, XYZ, whatever the reasons is. But if I can get my feet in that paint, I'm trying to. If I get a rebound, I'm pushing it 100% as fast as I can to get into that paint. Maybe I'm not even looking to score. I'm just running there because I know everybody go collapse and then shooters are open. So that's very important. Just figuring out who you are as a player.
Why now it makes sense to me that Codi Miller-McIntyre actually, recorded a triple-double, which I didn't know before the podcast. I see that you're a humble and very curious man. I mean, reaching out to head coaches, reaching out to GMs to figure out what does it take for you to go to that level. what's this gap all about, before you reaching that level. It's something that you rarely see in today's basketball. Somebody, of course, they're trying to find ways through their agents, but to have this self-confidence and to be so curious that personally to reach out those people who run the business, who are at the top, it's big. And that's my advice actually to anybody in any business, basically, whether it's you're a basketball player, whether you're trying to be on top in journalism or whatever. Just be curious about what you're doing, about what does it take to go to the next level, about getting know the business better, because it really helps.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, Itudas told me that once we had that conversation, and he told me like, yo, if you would have just signed to Zenit, the 2-year deal they offered you, the first year was Euro Cup, the second year was EuroLeague, maybe the conversation would be different between us. Maybe, your situation would be different. So it's like, even just having that little advice, it's like from that day forward, I was like, yo, I'm good. If the NBA comes, which now me being 29, I understand who I am as a player, I'm perfect for Europe. I belong here. I don't want to go anywhere else. I don't even think about going anywhere else. Like I belong in Europe. I've accepted that. I had my chance. I had an opportunity, and I realized why I wasn't in the NBA. Like when I went there, I'm like, oh shoot, okay, this dude's 6'6". He can pass, dribble, dunk on a 7-footer, shoot 40% from three. Yeah, bro belongs. Like I'm 6'3", struggle with shooting outside, XYZ. So it's like, what NBA team just go give me the ball and let me run off a million screens and be super ball dominant? I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like I'm good in Europe. This is where I belong. But yeah, just that little conversation that helps. Like, what's the worst they can do? Not reply. Dudes text girls all the time, and sometimes they don't reply. You can text a coach. You can text a coach about your future to make money, and if they don't reply, they don't reply. So.
Yeah,
preach.
As you mentioned, being self-realistic also helps moving forward. But you also suggested this idea of checking the stats, and I've checked that Maccabi Tel Aviv has the highest field goals attempts average, 66.8 per game, they top the EuroLeague. And in the NBA, we have Atlanta Hawks averaging 94 field goals per game. I was shocked. I thought that it has to be a mistake or something, but it's not. So that's a crazy difference. Speaking of those defensive rebounds who make the triple-double at the end of the day, in the EuroLeague, I see that we have Real Madrid averaging 27 defensive rebounds, and that's the number one in the EuroLeague, while in the NBA we have Boston Celtics with 47 rebounds. That's a difference of 20 defensive rebounds. So that's what makes the difference, actually.
Yeah.
So 27 shots and 20 more rebound opportunities between the top and the Europe and the top
Along
and
with
the
all
NBA.
the factors
That's
that
insane.
you said in terms of big man can't sit in the paint, the assist, they get 18 dribbles to get an assist. Even when I played in the G League, I did get a triple-double when I was in the G League, my first month there. And it was like, it was easy to do it. Like, because the way they record, I'm not gonna lie, it was easy to do it. Like the way they record the assists, nobody is running in there like super really. It's not too many players that's really locked in on getting rebounds, especially in the guard position. So it made it a lot easier.
But let's say Codi sets a new trend. Let's say getting a triple-double is easier in the EuroLeague. Who do you see the next EuroLeague player to do a triple-double?
This is tricky because I had to think. It's usually going to be a guard because it's going to be somebody who needs the ball. To get that amount of assists and that amount of points, you're usually going to have to be a guard. Not too many Nikola Jokic just running around the EuroLeague. But I was torn between two players just because they have size, they're athletic, and they have that ability to create. One, Lorenzo Brown. You're talking about somebody who is athletic, who's playing in the fastest pace, up-tempo offense in Maccabi. he has the capabilities to go get rebounds. He's a guy that can hover in that 4 to 5 range, but he could have a day, where he gets 10. He's a big assist guy. We've seen that ability, and he can score. I think he's comfortable creating, but I do think that, he has the propensity to score as well. So he's a guy I envision. And then also, I think if he played with the ball more, this year they kind of changed their offense a little bit, and Shane is playing more of the point. But I was thinking Darius Thompson, a taller guard. You're talking about in that 6'5" range, who's athletic, who can jump, who's a really good rebounding guard, defensively and offensively, but who also led the EuroLeague in assists last year. And he can score. He's shown his ability to score more this year, playing off ball more. But I think he's a guy that, maybe you'll see next year. I don't know what they're going to do with the roster, but I'm assuming there's going to be some changes. And I think he'll be back, and he'll have the ball in his hands a little bit more. And you might see an opportunity where next year he has a
and I think
potential to do
also
that.
with both of them, I think if Mike James wanted to, he could, because if you look at the rebounds, if we're looking at like average rebounds, Mike James is one of the top rebounding guards. He always has the ball in his hands. He can get the points and he gets the assists. So I think if that's something he like really wanted to do, he would be capable of doing it. Because like I said, just based on averages, I really believe that he is, or I think he is, one of the top guards in rebounding in terms of averages. So yeah, those three for sure.
Yeah, I have Mike James as my
It's a good option.
one of my suspects as well. Actually, the other guard who has size and who is good at rebounding is, I would say, a little bit underrated option. It's Tomasz Satoransky from Barcelona. He stands at 2 meters, 1 centimeter. He's best rebounding point guard next to Codi. You both average 4.4 rebounds per game. He averaged almost 4 assists per game. And like already this season, he had like 5-6 games with at least 9-10 rebounds, 6-7 assists. And, he was reaching those numbers in under 30 minutes of play. So I think that on some EuroLeague night, when he will be playing more than 30 minutes, he might get this triple-double. And it could actually happen. Of course, Nick Kalatis would be an easy option as well, but I was thinking about some bigs who could, let's say, flirt with the triple-double. And I have 2 suspects. First of all, Mustafa Fall, who already reached the triple-double in the Greek league this season. But there's one important condition in this case. Nikola Milutinov has to be injured, suspended, or whatever. He cannot play the game. That's what happened in the Greek league, I think, where Mustafa Fall was the only option as the center. And the other big was Tornike Shengelia, another great passing big. He plays with the ball a lot, and he's also, I think he's the best passing big that we have in the EuroLeague with 3.6 assists per game. He's getting 5.5 rebounds per game, playing almost 30 minutes per game. So he also has that potential to become a Mr. Triple-Double.
No, all of those are great options.
Those are good options, good choices.
So this season we saw Codi getting a triple-double. What we also saw him making a game winner against 2 Greek teams, Panathinaikos and Olympiakos. Could you break down those situations, those game winners from, technical side, from the mentality side, and what it takes to be a clutch player on the EuroLeague level?
The first game, Olympiakos, the play was actually for Chima. I was supposed to give Chima the ball, but he was being denied. And the way I am, the type of personality I have, I always want that shot personally, because I can take it if I miss it, and I don't get too high when I make it either. But I want that responsibility. I want, when I was at Partizan, for example, I took the shot to beat Red Star and I missed it. And I'm going to take that shot 1,000 times. If I have the ability or the chance to take it and I have the freedom to take it, like the play is for me, I'm going to shoot it, because that's what I want. That's what I think every player, they love, that feeling of hitting a game winner. a game winner shot. You know, when I work out at home, I play with like my imagination in my mind. Sometimes I'll shoot, I'm like, oh, game winner, bucket on X, Y, and Z. Like this is something that I've practiced for years. Like I've imagined situations like this for years. So that game, Olympiacos, it was actually for Chim, and then against Panathinaikos, I was like, for sure, I am taking this. Like I don't care what happens, I'm taking this shot. I was like, I already hit one. We're at home. I feel good. I'm going to take this shot. And for some reason with me, when the time gets 3, 2, 1, I'm way better at shooting for some reason than I am wide open with multiple seconds left on the clock. So I think just my personality, that's the type of pressure I want. That's why we play basketball, to have those moments, to make shots like that, to be able to be in a situation like that. So yeah, that's just kind of my thought process on it.
When I saw that, because I've been playing against Cody, I'd say since about 2018, I wasn't surprised because in my experience, Cody is a tough shot maker. Like you could play great defense, you put a hand, you do all this stuff, and like for some reason, those are the ones he's gonna make. And I'd be like, oh my! We'd be on the court. I'm like, man, that was good D. Like he'd be like, yeah, it was a good shot. I'm like, man, I played defense on that one, but like that's what he does. He has that that will, like that power to sometimes just to hit. It could be fading away, leaning, pull a tough shot. Like he's a tough shot maker, and I knew like when he had the ball, I was, oh, they in trouble.
Yeah, so it's something. I think it's just, maybe it's a mentality thing. Maybe it's, I need to shoot every shot like that. But in that moment, I'm like, bro, it's only two options. Either I make it and I'm a hero, or I miss it and I'm not a hero. So I don't care. Like this is going up. Whatever happens from here happens. But the main thing is, like, I want that responsibility every time. Obviously, if it's a good shot, a decent shot, somebody's not wide open, you know, I really want that responsibility.
You have to pick one EuroLeague player from the active EuroLeague players to try to hit the game winner for you. Who is your pick?
Yeah, I'm taking Kevin Punter and Mike James. Those
are my choices.
If it's anybody I got to pick to make big or tough shots, Mike James, of course, and then Kevin Punter, because I know he wants that responsibility, and he's going to probably make that shot 80% of the time. So, yeah, those two for sure, without a doubt.
Yeah, for me, I was thinking for sure Mike James. I mean, anytime he has the ball in your hands, if you're a fan of Monaco or someone who's rooting for Monaco, you feel relaxed. You feel like, this is probably game. If you're an opposing team, you feel like, oh my goodness, you're nervous, you're anxious, you're not feeling good. You're probably screaming, go double. But like, I mean, he's just, some of the shots he makes is just ridiculous. Like the way he gets spaced, the way he's twisting and turning in there, he can shoot it going to the left, going to the right. I mean, he's a master of those escape dribbles where like he throws the ball out far in front and he takes those two big steps, and he's not very tall, but how he elevates, he's still explosive. He likes to say he's old, but I just say, if you're old, what am I? But he's a guy that you just know he's special, man, and it's a pleasure to watch. And then Kevin Punter, boy, those hezzy threes from deep, like, man, he's been doing it for a while too. Like the Ike years, he hit some big shots. And then, you see it all the time now at Partizan, and then even in Milan, big shots. Like, man, he's a guy that also hits high level difficulty shots, and you're just wondering like how they get these off. And they both get fouled often on their jump shot attempts, which tells you like guys are contesting. Guys know that they can't give them any space, and they, for some reason, I feel like they make it even more when they get fouled. Like they get a lot of N1 threes per game, but those two, they're just on a different level when it comes to tough shot making and on the most important times and the biggest moments. It could be a regular season game. It could be a EuroLeague playoff game, whatever. And then not even just the game winners, those go-ahead shots that they hit, like with a minute left, 2 minutes, that team's making a run and they just kind of stick the nail in you, kill all the momentum, deflate the balloon. Like
Yeah,
that I consider that clutch too, not just game winners. Like what you do in them last 2 to
absolutely.
3 minutes, that's
Absolutely.
clutch.
Yeah, those two. Yeah, I think I've been playing against Kevin since I think we was in Belgium. Yeah, since we were in Belgium. And it's like, bro, I've been seeing this since he came over here. Like, I remember we did an NBA workout together. It was in Orlando, the Magic, yeah. And they wasn't playing me and him. So me and him are in the locker room. We're mad. We're upset. We're like, bro, like this like we should be hooping right now. And then literally, I think it was the fourth quarter, they put me and him in together, and we just went on like the craziest run, like just back to back to back, him, me, him, me, him, me, and just seeing his ability, like you said, to make those shots, his pull up, his mid range, you're not blocking it. Yeah, it's nah, he's elite and been elite. Bro, crazy.
Mid-range shorty right there. I think if I figured everybody would say Mike James, Kevin Punter. I haven't heard Donanis yet, but a small caveat for someone who's kind of goes under the radar, who I think is a big time shot maker and who's hit a lot of big shots. Kostas Sloukas. He's a guy that you least expect it because he's usually been on some really strong teams. You don't know where the ball is going to go, but he hit a lot of big shots those years at Finner under Jelko, and he's a guy that has that capabilities. Even in Olympiacos years, he hit some big shots, even as a young player. I think that's a guy that cannot also be forgotten because he's done it for many years, and I think he still, has that potential. And we'll see this year when they get in those moments. I think you'll see a guy like him rise to the occasion when they're in that playoff format because it seems like they're going to make it. It's unbelievable. First year, I didn't, with all the changes, with all the shifts and a new coach, you just never expect the team to figure it out. Kind of when they got that Kendrick Nunn signing, everything kind of just shifted. And I think you'll see his value really come to the forefront in those clutch moments when a lot of those guys haven't had that responsibility, but he has. And I think that's where you'll see his value.
This year we had a lot of great game winners. And I think that actually Cody and also Ife Lundberg leads the pack. I think that you guys made at least couple like real game winners, and I would say these are a little bit unexpected names on the top of this list. And as Eric or Cody mentioned, it's so hard to measure. Unfortunately, we don't have like stats that could measure the clutchness, at least in the EuroLeague. In the NBA, of course, they measure everything. But I tried to check through some leaderboards like top 5 players in contested field goals made. And actually Marcus Howard is first with 151, Mike James second with 147, Shane Larkin third with 123, and actually with the highest field goal percentage. Keenan Evans is fourth. I checked top 10 players in points per fourth quarter only. Mike James is first with 6.2, Wade Baldwin is second with 5.7, Shane Larkin 5.7 as well. Keenan Evans is fourth with 0.56. And the last one, the last category that was interesting to me was points created through scoring and assisting in the fourth quarter. So Mike James is first with 9.1, Wade Baldwin second with 7.8, Keenan Evans 7.5. Nicolas Laprovitola, a little surprise, 7.4, and Shane Larkin 7.4 as well. So we have a lot of talent, a lot of clutch players in our league. And I already went through a couple of categories where I didn't expect to see Codi Miller-McIntyre's name this season. And I have to be honest with you, when I saw Baskonia signing you and Nico Mannion, I was like, okay, I see Baskonia, once again, they have potential. But to replace Darius Thompson, especially the way he delivered last season, it might be impossible. It's going to be hard. But now we see you as a Mr. Triple-double. Now we see you as somebody scoring game winners. We see you as a solid floor general of a currently playing team. And it's obvious that I was wrong, and I think that many people were wrong as well. I remember having conversations with some GMs who were actually surprised that Baskonia signed you. So I would definitely include you as one of my, let's say, top 5 surprising players of the year. I remember I was doing mid-season EuroLeague survey, and That's another category where I didn't expect to have you before the season as the Rookie of the Year, while having Jabari Parker, Kemba Walker, Kendrick Nunn, a lot of NBA players joining at their peak, or let's say before 30s. And you're here topping the standings, topping the midseason survey completed by the players. So that's a huge accomplishment. And I thought, who was the most surprising player to you? Who were these guys who you didn't expect to deliver at such a high level, or to play important role this EuroLeague season?
So to be honest, I don't watch much EuroLeague, so it's hard. I will be a terrible person to ask, because the only time I really watch is when I'm about to play against someone. I'm watching film. I'm breaking it down with one of the coaches. So I'm a terrible person to ask, and that's me just being. I don't want to just say a name, so that's me being honest about that situation or that question.
What is the reason behind it? Because there are usually there are two camps. Those who watch everything. I mean, they want to study every player. They want to catch up with the trends of some other teams. They just love watching basketball in their free time. And there are guys like you, like Vasilij Micic, for instance, who I remember I was talking to, and he said that I want to stop thinking about basketball in order not to overthink about basketball in my free time. I want to refresh myself, to be hungry for basketball when the game time comes. I don't want to, be in a basketball environment when I finish the game, when I finish the practice, because I think it helps my, mental health going through those seasons. What's the reasoning for you?
I think for me is I'm interested in so many different things, and I don't have enough time in a day to really study and focus on all the stuff that my mind thinks about, that I enjoy reading, that I enjoy learning about. And I get anxiety. So if I watch a lot of games, I already told you the first thing that's going to come to my mind when I watch a game is he's getting paid how much. Now I'm at home at 9:30 at night, angry, upset literally for no reason. Like, I'm not going to put myself in that situation. Like, I hate the way my mind goes. If they miss a layup, I'm like, oh, he getting X amount of money. He done missed a wide open layup. I'm gonna get mad. So I avoid getting upset. So I chill at home. I light my candles. I had the lights off, and I'm reading something, studying something. And then just after last year, especially after last year, just seeing how much energy I'm putting into basketball, and then being away from family and everything that happened, I'm like, bro, there's so much more to life than just basketball. Because for me, I'm not going to be a coach. Zero chance. I'm not going to be a coach. I'm not doing nothing basketball related besides if my child, my daughter or son, when I have one, I help them out. But since I already know that, I'm studying something to prepare for that transition when it happens, because it's coming. So, but yeah, the main thing, I'm not about to get mad at the house at 10 o'clock at night and have anxiety and can't sleep because I'm upset about something I can't control. For real.
Eric, who were your guys you didn't see coming?
No, that makes sense. So I'm going to give you one. I think he's super talented. I always thought he was good. Everybody thought he was good, right? But to me, it's a surprise because of the severity of his injury. You're talking about Keenan Evans. I mean, this guy's averaging 17 points a game, 3 rebounds, 4 assists off of a Achilles. And like, I always thought he was nice. Like, I'm like, yo, I like how he move, his pace on the court. I like how he gets to his spots. He can shoot the 3. He has the mid-range. He gets to the hole. He's a strong guard. He has good size. He's a combo, can play the 1 or the 2. And if you need him to, he's strong enough to guard the 3. But I just was like, you coming off an injury of that severity, you don't expect a guy to have that pop, to have that explosiveness, to have that first step, and to have that confidence that soon. And to see him coming back like nothing ever happened, back playing better. Like, he played good last year. He's better after Achilles. Like, that's crazy. So to me, that is number one surprise. Like, I mean, he's shooting 52% from 2s, 46 from 3, and 87 from the line. I mean, he's doing it all almost with a 19 PIR. So, like, I mean, he is special. Like, this is an incredible year for anybody, but off of a Achilles, I don't think people understand, like, the therapy, the time, the work, the effort, the down moments he had, him probably thinking his career over might not be the same. You know, the guy who was relying on that first quick step, getting by guys. So to me, he is number one surprise. And then if you go past that, for sure, Chima is a surprise. And not that he wasn't talented. This is a guy who played in the league, who was killing at Murcia, dominating the Champions League. So you knew he had that talent.
Manresa, right?
And, I'm sorry, not Murcia. Maresa. Dominating at Maresa. And you know that he had that talent. You know, that got him to the Sacramento Kings. But then you're wondering, all right, did he need a different type of offense, a different type of flow, or just was the fit wrong at Monaco? Because you know he's talented. And then you see him, okay, it was just the fit. Now you see him back to himself, back to his ways. And I think a lot of it is your mental, like, right? His talent was never a question, or else he wouldn't have got these jobs. But now he's comfortable. He has a belief in him. He's getting the ball. He's getting trust. And that can do something for a player's mind and body so much more than anything else. So I think those two are leading the pack when you're talking about surprise, but not because of their talent. When I say surprise, I think people think, oh, this guy's not good. No, one guy was off an injury, and then one guy was off of a mental year where your head is like, where you at, how you bounce back from it. That shows his mental capacity. That shows his toughness, his heart to come back. Everyone questioning you, not playing how you know you can play, not feeling comfortable, and to bounce back 1 year later and to come out and play like this. That shows, like, that's a surprise because everybody not built for it tough. And he showed that ability to be a dog, really, because a lot of guys might have packed it in.
And it's not, he didn't even come to mind because it's not surprising to me. So when me and him talked when we first got here, everything that's happening right now, you know, with the way he's playing and with the way I'm playing, me and him literally sat down at the beginning of the season and talked everything through. So seeing the way he plays right now, for me, because I'm with him every day, we hang out, we talk. I'm about to go have tacos with him and a few other teammates in a little bit. It's no surprise. It's like, if you see our text messages, like the text I send him, the text message he send me, it's like, yo, your mind is powerful, bro. You believed in this. And this is why this is happening. Not only did you believe, but you put the same amount of work in it. And then the same with me, you know, the triple-double. Me and him talked about it. I said, bro, I'm going to get it. I'm not worried about it. I'm not stressed about it. It was a week where I almost had it twice. Literally in 7 days, I was one rebound away or one assist away in 2 different games against Bologna and against Ephes. I was like, bro, I'm going to get it. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. So for him, it's zero surprise just because of his mentality and how hungry he was coming into this season and wanting to prove not only to himself, but to everybody, you know, the type of player he is and the type of person as well. So.
Yeah, I actually have Keenan Evans and Chima and Cody in my most surprising lineup as well. And the other two guys, one of them is Marco Bellinelli, because he's top 10 in scoring at the age of 37 and he turns 38 next month. That's crazy to me. And Virtus is top 5 team in the EuroLeague. I mean,
round of applause for all the old guys out there. I love to see it. Marco Bellinelli, keep putting on, showing Europe that us old guys can keep going. I love it.
And for the center, I have a younger guy. And this is the guy that probably might be surprising to some players, EuroLeague fans. Maybe Ville Hernan-Gomez, because this guy was killing him in Kaunas. It's Laurynas Birutis. I mean, the guy who joined Žalgiris last year, who actually rejoined Žalgiris, while even in Lithuania, only few people believe that he can belong to the EuroLeague level even as a domestic player. Because, of course, they have exceptions and it's easier for them to get a spot in the EuroLeague team, let's say in Lithuania or even Serbia. But he is averaging 8 points per game, almost 10 PAR in only 15 minutes per game. He was decisive player in few surprising Žalgiris wins this season. He's averaging, he's shooting 68% from 2, almost 4 rebounds. And I checked stats. I checked the most efficient players in under 17 minutes of play. And the only guy who averaged a bigger efficiency rating is Ville Hernan-Gomez. I mean, coming from the NBA and one of the marquee free agency signings this summer. The second name is Laurynas Birutis. So to me, watching him being successful, especially also now under coach Andrea Trinchieri, who is utilizing him real well, it's just amazing. And probably this is the most surprising name in this most surprising lineup.
I think you can throw Alec Peters into the mix too. This is a guy who had huge shoes to fill, MVP coming in. You're not quite sure if he can fill that void. They go sign Luke Sigma. He kind of really hasn't, found his footing. Just, maybe it's so many years being in Berlin, and then, you get a change of scenery. It takes you some time to adjust. But, Peters is averaging 14 points a game, and, he's a prolific shooter, but we've never seen him score with this type of consistency. But this is also the first time he's had an expanded role. He's shooting 55% from threes, and 86 from the line and 61 from 2. So, a guy shooting 55 from 3, we know Sasha Vezenkov is that hell of a shooter, but it seems like, he's picked up right where he's left off. Obviously he's not getting that 18 points a game, but, I think he's fielding admirably, and he's shown his value there. And what I really was, surprised to see was the rebound uptick. He's averaging over 5 rebounds a game, and, a lot of 4-man shooters, don't get down there. They don't mix it up, don't get, a little physical, but he's showing that versatility.
Speaking of Sasha Vezenkov, Codi had an opportunity to share the floor with him in Bulgarian national team. I think you guys played like a couple of games in 2025 EuroBasket pre-qualifiers. Yeah. And, if you saw Vezenkov in the EuroLeague, and if you think he was great in the EuroLeague, in FIBA basketball, in national team basketball, he's even better. In the last EuroBasket, he was averaging like 27 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists against some strong national teams. And in the pre-qualifiers, he was also averaging some crazy numbers. What it's like to share the floor with Sasha while playing for Bulgaria?
I wish we had more time to practice together, because obviously, me going there, he wasn't there the first game, so the ball was in my hand majority of the game, did really well. But when he came and seeing his ability to score, I was like, bro, take the ball every time here. Like, I'm going to go sit over here. I'm going to go try to get some rebounds. I play defense. I don't need to shoot, bro. Like I think, I want to say he probably had like 30 something that game in February last year. But it was insane. His confidence, how quick he gets his shot off, and how his ability to score was nuts. I'm like, I wish we had more time to play, practice, because I think with me and you, especially in pick and rolls, we would be a very tough matchup if me and you both are very aggressive. But I loved it. I loved playing with him. Obviously, I wish he would have been able to come when we just played, but obviously with the NBA and his injury he's going through. But hopefully we can do enough, in the next window and the window after to potentially make it so we can, have a chance to play together.
Yeah, the worst part is that those windows for the 2025 EuroBasket qualifiers will be played during the season in next November and February. So if Sasha is staying in the NBA, it's just worse. It's worse for the Bulgarian national team because he won't be able to help you guys. So let's hope that you will get the job done. Great victory against Germany, especially going after this loss against Sweden. It won't be easy, but I was just thinking, did you guys try to talk with Sasha? What ceiling do you see for this team while you guys being the core players of that team? Because, having Codi Miller-McIntyre and Sasha Vezenkov, even in a tournament with Giannis, Nikola Jokic, and Luka Doncic, Poland national team proved that it's not necessary to have one of those 3 NBA superstars. You still can make it to the semifinals. So did you consider the ceiling of this national team, how far you can go?
So honestly, the way I think about things, I kind of just think day by day and game by game, where for me to even think that far ahead, it's like there's so much to do before then in terms of just obviously the EuroLeague, ACB, all of summer, and then realizing like we still have 2 windows where we have to play Montenegro twice, who has a really good team, really good guard, especially with Perry being there, Kendrick. And then again, we have to play Germany and Sweden as well. So it's a lot of work to do before even considering, how we match up with another team when he's able to come. But I think with me and him, I think it'll be a fun game. I don't think it's a game where people can just show up and be relaxed because he has a big name. I don't have a big name, but he's a dog, and I'm gonna play extremely hard as well. So you at least have to be super focused on the effort and the energy that we both will bring, along with all the other players that we have as well. So everybody plays extremely hard. They're confident, and I think when Sasha is able to be there, it gives them more confidence, more energy, and it makes them want to fight for something. That underdog feeling. And it's basketball. Anything can happen on any given night. A team can have a bad shooting night, and we're just super hot that night. I may hit 5 threes that night, and who knows, So
I wanna pause you there for a second because you've been an underdog your whole life. You've been under the radar. You've been, underregarded. And I think it's a weird position for you. Your name is no longer underdog. There's not too many guys who get 20 assists in a game. 4 guys ever have had a triple-double. And I know this is unfamiliar territory. It kind of happened to me when my career started taking off. I was so used to being a guy who played Division II NAIA, a guy who, didn't have opportunity here, a guy who was always challenged to do something that I always felt like, dang. And then when your name starts to grow, when the respect starts to grow, when the contracts start to increase, when the team's names and prejudices start to improve that want you, it's a weird feeling. And I know it's going to take you time. I think you're in that process right now. You're not a little name no more, bro. Yeah. I'm just gonna say, I think we're beyond that. And I think if you continue, right now you're averaging almost a little over 8 points, 7, 8 assists, about 5 rebounds a game. One of the top assist guys, big shot makers, has a chance to get his guy in the EuroLeague playoffs. A starting point guard for a playoff team, possibly in the EuroLeague. That's not a little name. So just get comfortable with it. I get it. You want to psych yourself out.
It won't happen because I hold grudges, man. It won't happen. I literally hold grudges for a long time. So like with this basketball stuff, it's like no matter what happens this year, let's just say something crazy happens, Baskonia wins everything. ACB, we win EuroLeague. Even if that happens, the next year, I'm mad about something. I'm angry about some situation, something a coach said to me, playing against another coach that didn't give me the opportunity, who never looked at me, somebody who, they said I wasn't a point guard. I couldn't play at this level. So it's like, yeah, even like you said, and I appreciate it. Like maybe people don't think of me an underdog anymore, but it's like, that's my mentality, and that's the only way I can play.
I get it, but that salary next year and the previous year, or the future years is going to say you're not an underdog, and then also the minute you play the role, potential in the future. You're only 29 years old, so I think your game can continue to trend upward. You could have the potential to be an all EuroLeague type of guy. Making one of those teams if you're on a winning team and you're able to continue to create and grow your game like you are. So I get it mentally, all that stuff is going to stick with you, but there's going to be guys who line up and they're going to be excited. Oh, Codi McIntyre, he make how much? They're going to be excited, and the roles is going to reverse, so you'll see it, but just keep that grind, keep that mentality, and you're on the up and up. That's a great mentality to have.
Let's wrap this podcast up with all-time performers, and Mike James is 29 points away from becoming the all-time EuroLeague leader in points. It's just a matter of time and he will surpass Vasilis Spanoulis. And I was just thinking, and probably Mike was thinking the same as well, is this record going to establish Mike James as the EuroLeague GOAT?
So you asked that I saw the question, and it depends on what you describe as the GOAT. If we talk about scoring potential, of course, I don't think his scoring ability is unmatched. That's why he's about to break the record. But for me, I think Kyle Hines. For me, he has how many championships? I think 4
I
EuroLeague
think 4.
championships.
Yeah.
He's been a champion almost everywhere he's been. If you look at his career, how long has Kyle Hines been playing? About 25 years? My fault, Kyle. No, he's been playing a very a long time, and he's only been on, 5 teams? Something like that. He was in Cheska. Yeah, he was with Cheska for like 5 to 6 years.
Olympiacos.
Cheska, Bamberg,
Second
Milan,
division in Italy.
Olympiacos, and then
So
a
he's
second
been
division
playing for
Italy
X
team.
amount of years and only been on a very handful of teams. And he's a winner. He's a guy who's accepted his role. He accepted who he is, and he established, his uniqueness in Europe, and also pretty much won everywhere he went. So for me, it's Kyle Hines for sure.
Who do you consider as a GOAT, Eric?
See, it's so tough because I think Mike James is one of the most talented and gifted players to ever grace Europe. I think when you combine, that athleticism, that speed, that quickness, his ability to score from the tray ball, from the mid range to get in the paint. I mean, what do you want? Floaters, scoop shots, left hand, right hand. He'll also go dunk it on you. Like, he rebounds, he assists. I mean, to me, I think he's one of the best, if not the best player to play in Europe. But I know how Europe works, and Europe and also the US, they grade everything on rings and championships. And unfortunately, he doesn't have one of those, but also it's the product of the teams that he was on. He was never on a team that was a favorite to win. He was never on a team that was considered a powerhouse. He was usually on teams that were under the radar, that overachieved. He takes a Monaco team that overachieves, comes one game short of making the Final Four against Olympiacos 2 years ago. And then you think he was on that Baskonia team, but he was young Mike. He was baby Mike James. And he was in the Final Four, and Barousis, Darius Adams, Adam Hunger. They had a really good squad. And that team, no one expected them to be there. And they did. It was like a Cinderella story, one of the great Baskonia teams. And then, so you kind of think when he was at Pana, it was in that transition stage, right? Jelko leaves. They're trying to find out who they are, what they have, like, Spanulis is now at Olympiacos. Like, things are just different, Dimitridis is not coming through that door. So, like, I feel like there is an exception when you're not on a team that's bona fide, supposed to win, all those things. But to me personally, I know the GOAT is probably going to be Spanulis. I mean, you look at the way he scored, the way he did it. He was also, I think what people forget, an excellent defender early in his career in those Pana days. You've seen him do it on 2 different organizations. So that shows his talent. A lot of guys can play on one team and they'll be good because they're comfortable, because everything's perfect for them off the court, on the court, the system. It's so easy to play when I know everything, what to expect, when I know everything is given to me because I've earned it, but based on being there on seniority. I've been there for so many years. But when I go from one team, and when you're talking about in Greece, one of the strongest media markets there in Serbia, like, where like they're going to kill you if you don't play good. And you're talking about winning the championship, winning the EuroLeague in Panathinaikos. And then, you know what? I'm ready to go on my own. I learned from you, Dimitridis. I learned from you, Jeko. I'm my own man now. I'm not a youngin'. And he goes to Olympiacos, and what's he do? He wins 2 of them. And that just shows like that ability and all those big shots, those clunkers. So to me, Mike James is a better talent than Spanulis, right? But Spanulis to me is my GOAT, just based on the championships, his impact on those games, how he's able to do it, to go from Panathinaikos to Olympiacos. That's a guy who doesn't give a damn. I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to live my life. And I respected it. And so people probably won't understand it, but yes, I think Mike James is a better talent than Spanulis. But no, I think Spanulis is the GOAT. And I think Kobe Bryant is a better talent than Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
But I think Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Like that's the best way I can sum it up. Kobe has a better skill set. There's more things he can do on the court, like more ability. He's a better scorer. He's a better shooter. Like, but Jordan the GOAT.
If there was a debate, I would be also on Eric's side with Vasilis Spanoulis. And even though we can consider Mike as a better talent, at least in Europe, he won't get that recognition of being considered the number one guy if he doesn't start winning titles. That as simple as that. And it might take only 1 or 2 titles to change the narrative, but it's something that European basketball fans will be always picky about when Mike James will start his own GOAT conversation. So yeah, that's that.
One title at Monaco will go a long way. Like I'm sorry, but like a title at Monaco is greater than one at like Olympiacos.
But is it greater than 3 titles?
Real Madrid, like people. See that's where it gets tricky. and he had a back-to-back 2012, 2013. I was in Greece and they were back-to-back, and he had his imprints on everyone. That's why it's so hard, because like Spanoulis, like, man, he really did it. And I played against him, and I seen him in his prime. I seen him when a lot of young players didn't see him. They saw him towards the end. I seen him when he was that guy. And it was tough, boy.
There's also a reason why Giannis considers Spanoulis as the GOAT. There's the reason why Mike James was copying Spanoulis' signature step-back shot. And it's also nice that Mike James is going to become the all-time leader in scoring in the EuroLeague. And the very first basket that he made was actually while wearing a Baskonia jersey. And that's the team that had a lot of, I would say, great starts, a lot of big journeys has started in Baskonia, and it's great that we are enjoying another great journey in Baskonia this year, and I hope that journey will continue for Codi Miller-McIntyre. It was a pleasure to have you on the podcast, man.
Thank you, man. I definitely appreciate both of y'all.
Blessings to you, man. Good health. Hope you have a great season, and keep doing what you do, man. We enjoy watching you play, man. Y'all started off rocky. It was not enjoyable to watch at the beginning. I ain't gonna lie. I said some things. I stand on it. It was bad basketball, but then something changed. The Dusko magic happened, and y'all been fun to watch now, and it's a pleasure to see that. And y'all have a really good fan base, so they deserve to see that beautiful basketball.
We'll definitely try to keep it going, man, and do our best to try to make playoffs for sure.